In the depths of the galaxy, a peaceful alien species known as the Farrakhan had made a desperate decision. Their world, once rich with resources and teeming with life, had been ravaged by a relentless invasion from a neighboring star empire, the Clore. The Clore were brutal conquerors, their armies known for wiping out entire civilizations without mercy. The Farrakhan were no match for their strength, and their planet had already been crippled. The Farrakhan leadership, with their last hope, reached out through the vastness of space. Their message was clear and desperate. "We need help. Please, anyone, save us from the Clore." They sent the call to every corner of the galaxy, to every known civilization that might have the resources to help. Most of the galaxies they reached had ignored them, but there was one civilization that had the power to answer: humanity. The message was received in the control room of the Vanguard, a massive human warship that had been on a routine patrol in the neighboring star system. Captain Nathan Cole, a seasoned officer with decades of experience, had seen all kinds of diplomatic situations. But this one was different. The Farrakhan were pleading for help against the Clore, a species that, from what the humans knew, were ruthless and had been the scourge of the galaxy. "Captain," said Lieutenant Sarah, the communications officer, "we've intercepted a distress signal from the Farrakhan. Their planet is under attack by the Clore. They're asking for help. They've sent this message to everyone in range." Nathan leaned forward in his chair, studying the transmission. The Farrakhan were a peaceful species, their planet lush with life and resources, but their military was practically non-existent. Their desperation was clear. But why had they chosen to contact humanity? The humans had no reputation for kindness in galactic politics. They were newcomers, untested, and yet their fleet was rapidly growing in power. "Can we verify their location?" Nathan asked. Lieutenant Sarah quickly tapped the console, pulling up a star map. "Yes, sir, it's a few sectors over. It would take us a couple of days to get there, but we can make it." "Plot a course," Nathan said, his voice steady. "Let's see what we can do." The Vanguard moved swiftly through space, and as it neared the Farrakhan homeworld, the situation was grimmer than anyone had expected. The planet was in chaos. Clore ships hovered above it like vultures, their massive, intimidating forms casting shadows over the once beautiful world. The Clore were already deploying ground forces, burning cities to the ground and exterminating anyone who dared resist. The Farrakhan had no chance. "Captain, we're entering the system," said Lieutenant Sarah, her voice tight. "We've got multiple Clore warships in orbit. They're already making landing strikes on the surface." "Open a channel," Nathan ordered. The Farrakhan's leader, a figure whose desperation was evident even through the comms, appeared on the screen. "Human fleet, we thank you for coming. Please, we beg of you. Our world is dying. The Clore are unstoppable. If you have any hope of saving us, you must strike quickly." Nathan studied the Farrakhan leader for a long moment. His heart weighed heavy, but his mind was already made up. The Vanguard was a weapon, and this was its purpose. "We'll do what we can," Nathan said, trying to sound as reassuring as possible. "But this is going to be dangerous. Prepare to defend your planet." As the Vanguard moved into position, Nathan gave the order to launch the fleet. The Vanguard was not the only ship at his disposal. The human fleet, while still small by galactic standards, was growing stronger. It consisted of warships, smaller cruisers, and an array of support ships, each one built for maximum efficiency and lethality. The Clore, who had long underestimated humanity, were about to learn a hard lesson. Nathan's strategy was simple: divide and conquer. The Clore ships, as massive as they were, relied on their sheer firepower and overwhelming numbers. But the humans had something that the Clore could not understand: a relentless determination and tactics that were honed in the harshest of environments. Earth, a death world. "Captain, the Clore fleet is advancing toward us," said Lieutenant Sarah, her voice steady as she monitored the enemy's movements. "They're using their standard formation, grouping together to concentrate firepower." Nathan smiled grimly. "Just what I wanted. Launch all fighters and prepare to engage," he ordered. The Vanguard surged forward, followed by the rest of the fleet. The human ships were smaller than the Clore vessels, but they were far more maneuverable. The Clore fired upon them, but the humans' speed and unpredictability made them impossible to pin down. Human pilots swarmed around the Clore ships, striking swiftly and retreating just as quickly. Every shot was calculated, aimed at the weakest points on the Clore warships: engine blocks, power cores, vulnerable shield generators. The battle quickly turned into chaos. The Clore, accustomed to fighting enemies that simply tried to survive, were now facing an adversary that refused to follow any expected pattern. Human ships darted between the Clore formations, cutting them apart piece by piece. Explosions lit up the dark expanse of space as human missiles pierced through the Clore shields, ripping apart their massive vessels. The Clore commanders, initially confident in their overwhelming firepower, now found themselves in a desperate fight for survival. Their ships, some of the largest in the galaxy, were crumbling under the onslaught. The Clore had never encountered anything like this before. Humans didn't retreat, didn't panic, didn't hesitate. They fought with a brutality and ingenuity that was impossible to predict. "Sir, we've destroyed their lead warship," Lieutenant Sarah reported, her voice triumphant. "They're breaking formation." "Keep the pressure on," Nathan ordered. "Don't let them regroup." Within hours, the Clore fleet was in full retreat. The human ships had taken heavy damage, but the Clore, faced with relentless pursuit, began to fall apart. The Clore knew when they were beaten, and they fled back into the void, abandoning their ground troops on the surface of the Farrakhan homeworld. "We've won," Sarah said quietly, disbelief in her voice. The Farrakhan leader's image returned on the screen, his eyes filled with awe and gratitude. You've done it. You've saved us. We owe you everything." Nathan shook his head. "You owe us nothing. We're just here to make sure no one else underestimates humanity again." As the Clore ships retreated into the darkness, the Farrakhan people cheered on the surface of their planet. The Vanguard and the rest of the human fleet had saved them, but more than that, they had sent a message to the galaxy. The galaxy had its great powers, empires and civilizations that had ruled for centuries, but now humanity had entered the stage, and no one would dare overlook them again. The Clore had learned a hard lesson that day. When the Deathworlders answer a call for help, it's not for mercy. It's to show the galaxy exactly what humanity is capable of. "You said,